I'm Camille Abbe. In this series, I'm going to explore the vibrant culture of the Tuscan countryside. Together, we'll visit some of the artisans, chefs, and farm holiday inns the Italians call agriturismo that all contribute to making Tuscany such an enchanting region.
In today's episode, we'll continue our tour of the Val d'Orcia. Ironsmith Aldo Di Matteis works in his home workshop in the countryside between Montepulciano and Montalcino. Ironsmiths like Di Matteis are kept busy by the constant demand for iron gates, chandeliers, and andirons that are common in Tuscan homes. Ironsmithing is essentially unchanged since it was first discovered at least 5,000 years ago. Iron ore is refined into workable iron, which is heated and pounded into submission. Needless to say, it is hard work.
Round. Now it hangs out on the floor.
The town of Montalcino in southern Tuscany is perched high above a landscape of vineyards and forest. The area's robust red wine, Brunello di Montalcino, is considered to be one of Italy's finest. Montalcino was passed back and forth several times between Florence and Siena during the Middle Ages. When Siena fell to Florence in 1555, 700 Sienese noble families fled to Montalcino for refuge. The Florentine army gave chase and laid siege to the town for 4 years. In 1559, the refugees surrendered to Florence, marking the end of the rebel Sienese Republic. Today, the town bustles with activity. The outdoor markets and cafes are a draw for both natives and tourists alike. This cafe in Montalcino's center is an historic landmark and a popular meeting place. This club of Fiat Roadster enthusiasts has gathered in Montalcino to show off their elegant vehicles to each other. They've parked directly below the Fortezza, a fort that was built in 1571 by Montalcino's new rulers, the Medicis of Florence. This imposing structure now houses an enoteca and offers the best views of the surrounding countryside. Just outside Montalcino, in a tiny hamlet, butcher Carlo Piero makes a renowned prosciutto from local pigs, some of which he raises himself. He generously shared his method of preparation. Most Tuscan butchers will refuse to reveal their secret techniques. First, he trims the excess meat and fat, shaping and sculpting the pig leg. This ensures that the meat will cure evenly.
Qui mettiamo aglio e aceto.
Carlo then puts the lightly seasoned leg into a cooler and coats it with sea salt. Each week he'll apply more salt and test the moisture level of the meat.
Prosciutto 4 settimane.
After that month, the leg will be transferred to another room to air dry for up to a year. The final result will be the salty sweet ham called prosciutto. Just up the hill from Carlo's shop is the most famous and biggest producer of Brunello di Montalcino, the Castello di Banfi. The restored castle crowns a 7,000-acre estate and produces over 700,000 cases of wine per year. Banfi is not all vineyards, though, and the owners have devoted a little parcel of land to these adorable donkeys who are retired from working in nearby mines. Although famous for its wine, the estate also produces an even more precious commodity, balsamic vinegar, or balsamico. Banfi Communications Director Dante Cecchini explains how it is made.
Okay, here we are in the balsameria, in the balsamic cellar of Castello Banfi. We produce balsamico, which is a concentration, a natural concentration of the grape, in the same way that was produced many centuries ago. Balsamico was, along with honey and melassa, one of the natural sweeteners that were used by the people, by the ancient civilizations. So how does it work? First, you cook the must, so the juice of the grapes, for 3 days. So you reduce it a little bit, let's say 30%. Then you use this product to go through the vinegar process. So we have these batteries of 5 different barriques, barrels of different size, and most of all different kind of wood. And inside any of these barriques there is the mother of the vinegar, which is a kind of spongy group of yeasts that transform it in balsamic. Let's say that if we start with 100 kilos of grapes, we end up with 5 kilos of balsamic, so 95% reduction.
The resulting balsamico is thick, sweet, and the perfect complement to Parmesan or strawberries.
Like honey.
Some of the balsamico finds its way into Banfi's restaurant, where German-born chef Guido Havercock prepares Tuscan recipes using haute cuisine techniques.
And I wanted to prepare for you today like a fillet of beef poached in Brunello wine with like spices like thyme and rosemary, some bay leaves, garlic, pepper, some ginepro. We just start with the reduction from the wine. We take like 1 bottle of Brunello wine and we reduce it to half. After that the wine for poaching the beef is ready, so we can start to cook it. We just season the fillet, black pepper fresh out of the mill, olive oil. We just put the fillet to close all the meat around. Not too much. Put it like in this nicely reduced red wine. Very tasty. It's very important that it's not boiling. It has to be on a less temperature, under 100 degrees. Here we do it with Brunello, and it's quite good. Because Brunello is a quite strong red wine with a lot of perfumes. Yeah, aroma. But in the end you can use every red wine you like, that's for sure. But it has to be a nice wine, otherwise it don't make sense to do this plate. For the decoration of the plate we use just like a little bit of rosemary flowers, or just a small piece of rosemary. Then I put some celery leaves, and I prepared some chips from pancetta. It's like bacon chips. You can put just fine sliced bacon on a tray and you dry it up in the oven around 100 degrees for around 1 hour. And for the sauce, we just take like a little bit, we pass it just with a chinoise, a little bit of the wine we poached in the fillet. Make it reduce nearly to the maximum, just so that it don't burn. And after that we put on top a little bit of demi-glace. Andiamo dai, su. Andiamo. And decorate a little bit the plate. decoration.
On this October day, the nearby village of Camille is celebrating its annual Sagra del Galletto. Most villages and towns in Tuscany have at least one sagra, or festival, every year. They're usually based around a local food specialty, in this case young rooster, that is served at communal tables to villagers and guests. Holding a sagra is an opportunity to celebrate the local traditions that bind the community. The Sagra del Galletto is also the venue for an unusual competition. Village men are chosen by lottery to represent a local castle or district in a contest involving the druzola, a small disc made of iron. Once the men are paired with their druzola, the whole town processes to a walled road where the competition will take place. The object of the competition is simply to throw the druzola as far as possible. The winner is the man with the longest combined distance based on 4 throws. It's said that the origin of the druzola is with local peasants, who in the past had to walk long distances to get from one village to the next. To pass the time, they rolled round stones ahead of them. Eventually, iron discs replaced stones, and the competitiveness of men led to this town's contest. As it happened, this day's winner was representing Castello Banfi. Montalcino is also famed for its honey, and Fabio Tassi is the president of the local Beekeepers Association.
Per tenere più tranquille le api. Oggi non è una giornata molto bella per andare dalle api, perché come sentite questo vento di tramontano, praticamente vento dal nord, non è che che vada molto bene per le api perché le rende più nervose, perché il clima non è quello che loro prediligono. Sono di numero perché la regina inizia a deporre molte. Questa con cosino rosso è l'ape regina, la vedete? Tenete presente che la regina può deporre in un giorno più del doppio del proprio peso di uova. In Italia, per la varietà climatica e per la tipologia del paesaggio, credo che sia la nazione al mondo che riesce a produrre un maggior numero di tipi di miele, più di 30 tipi diversi di miele. Questo è quello di miele, e questo è un invito a far mangiare ai vostri bambini. Questo è un messaggio rivolto a tutte le mamme, un prodotto così genuino e così di qualità come il miele.
The Abbey of Sant'Antimo is nestled in a small valley a few miles south of Montalcino. It is said to have been founded in 781 by Emperor Charlemagne himself. Charlemagne was the 8th century French ruler who briefly unified Europe before it plunged back into the Dark Ages after his death. The abbey's position on the Via Francigena, or Pilgrim's Road from Canterbury, England through France all the way to Rome, led to its growth and also resulted in the French influence on the building's design. The current structure dates to 1118 and is considered to be one of the finest Romanesque churches in all of Italy. At the height of its influence in the 13th century, Sant'Antimo controlled a vast territory that covered thousands of square miles. Today, a small group of monks reside here, maintaining the grounds and singing Gregorian chants at prescribed times of the day. Tuscany's sparsely populated southwest corner is called the Maremma, and it is the home of one of the region's most spectacular towns, Pitigliano. Founded by Etruscans over 2,000 years ago, the ancient town appears to literally grow from the cliffs on which it is built. In the Maremma, towns were built on hilltops not only for protection from attack, but also to keep away from the malaria that was endemic in the marshy region until only 50 years ago. Pitigliano boasts one of the few existing Jewish quarters in the region. It was established by the Medici in 1570 as a refuge for persecuted Jews. A little to the west of Pitigliano, the ancient hot springs of Saturnia lure visitors from far and wide. Free and open to the public, these cascades are an oasis for bathers who enjoy lounging in the sulphurous, hot water. The water originates a half-mile away at the Terme di Saturnia, a luxury spa built literally around the original spring.
It looks like a pool, but it's actually a source, a natural source of spring water. Produces 265 gallons of water per second at body temperature. This water basically has been around for about 40 years. It falls on the foot of Monte Miata, goes 300 to 400 yards underground, and then shows up here. The area has been used for more than 3,000 years. The Etruscan culture used the water, the Roman culture used the water, obviously medieval times and also now.
Saturnia attracts a well-heeled clientele, including prominent Italian politicians and celebrities. They're drawn not only to the spa's legendary water, but also to the pampering service and elegant facilities. Of course, in addition to the spring water, Saturnia offers many types of luxurious spa treatments. The Terme di Saturnia is an exclusive hideaway for the rich, but more typical of the Maremma is a quiet olive grove that binds a family with its seasonal rhythms. Every fall, the Sekis family comes together to harvest the olives from their small grove of trees. They use a special comb to gently pull the olives off the branches, minimizing bruising and damage to the fruit and the tree. Giovanni points out that many of today's big olive oil producers have abandoned this old method.
Ora è diventata sempre più facile, diventa sempre più moderna perché esattamente ci sono dei macchinari apposta che scuotono la pianta oppure hanno dei pettini, pettinando tirano il lì. Quando sono mature si vede l'oliva più o meno quando è matura. Questa è anche un pochino indietro, questa verde, però più o meno ha la stessa resa di queste nere. Vede l'olio che fa, il schizzo dell'olio e cose. Esattamente si vede proprio che l'oliva è già matura e conviene subito levarla.
Like most Tuscans, Giovanni believes that Tuscan olive oil is the best in the world.
Si aveva l'olio anche dall'Australia, da queste zone qui, sapevo c'era un olio molto più leggero di questo. Questo è un olio spettacolare, senza acidità, senza niente.
The Maremma Wildlife Preserve hugs Tuscany's isolated southwest coast, offering refuge for both humans and animals who seek out its pristine environment. These domesticated, long-horned white cattle are a symbol of the Maremma, and they graze in the open pastures of the preserve. Without fear of hunters, these foxes are so tame that they can be fed by hand. Elk and deer run freely through the fields, and as the daylight fades, you might catch a glimpse of the shy and elusive cingale, or wild boar. In this part of Tuscany, even more than in others, the natural world dominates the rhythm and structure of life.